How's it going, everybody? I'm Ronald Leggett Jr. and you're watching Guitar Buzz. So today we're going to be talking about are cheap guitars worth upgrading? But first we're going to get into a little leaked photo of Firefly guitars. Now, from what I understand, in the past they did make single cut guitars, but they were a bolt-on neck. We all know the Firefly guitar, the ES355 copy, is an amazing instrument for the price. Well, now they're going to be coming out with thin line tele models. Thin line tele models. And if they keep the quality control up and the prices down, I'll definitely get one of those and review it for you guys. I did say that the ES355 was rosewood, and I do apologize. It looks like rosewood. Some say it's maple dyed. I don't really have any clear answer on that, but a little bit of dye came off of my finger, onto my fingers, but not a whole lot like everybody else is saying. But I got mine to look like rosewood by putting lemon oil on it and kind of conditioning it a little bit, so it looks like legit rosewood. I have not done anything to the guitar so far. It's holding up great. I mean, it's just a great instrument. I lowered the action. You can't beat it for the price. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at these thin line teles. They got them in orange, they got them in black, they got them in like a sunburst or a tobacco sunburst. I mean, these are gonna be awesome. I think they should make them more with, traditional maple necks. I don't really like teles, like I said, with rosewood. But after we got that out of the way, today we're gonna be talking about, are cheap guitars worth upgrading? Because I get comments all the time. Ronnie, you're spending too much money on that guitar. It's junk. You're just putting too much money in that guitar. Well, I beg to differ with you. I don't think a name should change how much you put into a guitar. Because when you're buying a guitar, do you have in mind what you can resell it for in the future? Or do you have in mind, is this thing comfortable? Can I take this thing on the road with me? Could I upgrade it and make it better? Can I beat this guitar around? Is it gonna work for me? And that's what I did with this guitar. This is I call this my vintage build because it's got like a vintage style wiring in there, Bourne pots. The action is super, super low. I kind of did some relicing on the back. I know it's kind of cheesy, but it's just like a vintage build that I did. I thought it was going to be pretty cool, and I think it turned out great. I wanted like a gold top, but not so gold. Like I kind of wanted it faded out a little bit. I think this thing turned out great. It has vintage pickups in there. They're really hot, and with that capacitor setup and the 50s wire, and this thing sings amazingly. And as you can see, that bridge. Let me see if I can get a view from my side. That bridge is low, right? For a cheap guitar, that's amazing. Because I did some work to it. There was a little bit of high frets on this guitar, and I went ahead and leveled and crowned and polished the frets. And then I did a fall off at the 12th fret. A lot of people forget to do that. That's what I do. I take this part off and I take these down a little bit more so I can get lower action. But this guitar turned out great. And you're saying, well, that's nuts. You can go buy an Epiphone. You can go buy an Epiphone and do that. Or you go buy such and such used brand and go do this. Brands don't matter to me. Okay, this has a real rosewood fretboard. This is before all that stuff happened with rosewood. And I got lucky enough to get 3 cheap guitars with real rosewood. So this has a beautiful rosewood fingerboard, right? And it has jumbo frets. And this guitar has the neck that I like, right? And it just feels so good. This guitar is comfortable. It weighs about 8 to 9 pounds. This guitar is super, super, super comfortable. I love playing this guitar, and I love beating this around. Because sometimes I do sings in the summer, and sometimes it rains, and this is like the perfect guitar to beat around and do that with. You say, well, you can buy an Epiphone and put money into it, but by the time I buy the Epiphone and do what I did to this, you're looking at like probably $700-800, and I could just go buy a guitar outright for that. And you're like, you're out of your mind. You're putting all kinds of money in this. And I do on this, I do things on this channel. I show you guys that you can have very little money and do a lot of stuff. But there's just some particular guitars that I like, and the higher brands can't accomplish what I like with a cheaper brand, or a kit or a build that you've done, right? And when you build these guitars and stuff, it's not about who made them, where they came from. It's about what you've done to make the guitar great. So I know how to do all the work, polish and level the fret, or level and polish the frets and all that stuff. I can do all that stuff. I have some free time that I can do that kind of stuff in my house, right? So it doesn't bother me. So I'm not counting labor, but this guitar turned out great. And I think it's, you know what, if you have an old guitar that your grandpa handed down and it's a K guitar and everybody makes fun of you, or learner guitars, and you put it in the corner for that reason, don't do that. Put a little money in that thing, get it sounding good, and play the thing. Because everybody's a brand freak on YouTube, right? If it's not made in the U.S., and if it don't say Gibson on the headstock, the guitar's got to be junk. I disagree. Because this guitar looks great. I mean, the back looks great, the neck looks great, the sides look great. I do have to put the rest of the screws in where I had the back plates off, but everything looks great on this guitar, and I enjoy this guitar. And this is a guitar that I can actually use for a tool, because I believe that's what guitars are. They're tools. And if you don't look at it that way, because when I buy a guitar, I expect to be playing the thing until there's nothing left of the wood. And yeah, if you're a famous guitar player and you have one guitar and you bare it to the wood, you know, your guitar is going to be worth a lot of money because you're a famous person. But I'm not famous. I'm not going to be famous. So when I chip the wood out of this guitar from playing so hard, you know, I didn't lose any money. I'm not out of half of a new car buying a guitar, because I think it's ridiculous to pay $3,500, even $2,500 for a good guitar. And I mean, I have the frets really nice on this guitar. There's no sandpaper, it's just smooth, and it changes the overall feeling of a cheap guitar. And I don't know why people bash on cheap guitars, because cheap guitars in the 70s and 80s were legit junk, right? But people are figuring out how to make really decent guitars for half price. One way Guitar Fetish does it, they cut out the middleman, right? They get them and they stock them in a warehouse and they sell them straight to you. That's how they cut the cost, see? And that's the same way with the Chinese in these kits. The sad thing is these guitar kits are selling more for than a guitar that you can buy whole. All you do is, like the Firefly guitar, ES 355 guitar that I have, $140 shipped to your door. A kit's like $200 and some. You have to paint it. You got to buy paint. You got to buy clear coat. You got to buy this. Got to buy that. Blah 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 blah. You're going to be like $400 just in building a guitar. But if you get one of those Firefly guitars and just upgrade it with a wiring kit, I'm just going to use high-end stuff. Say that I buy a good wiring kit, $80, right? I got to buy a switch, $20. Got to buy good pickups, $200. And that guitar is totally worth doing that to. And you say, that's ridiculous, man. Just buy a good guitar. But here's my problem with that. When I get a guitar, I know a lot of people that do this. Not only myself, people get higher end guitars and change the pickups anyway. They'll change the wiring anyway. A lot of times. So are cheap guitars worth upgrading? Yes, they are. You can do it on a budget. Or you can just be full-blown stupid and just blow a bunch of money. Like I said, if the guitar is comfortable for you, if the guitar is something that you like playing, totally upgrade it the way you want it. Even though this is not a Gibson, even though this is not a high-end guitar, and people are like, you know, I don't really want to play it, it's junk, and then they can touch it and they can feel the frets and they're like, wait a minute, this feels different from a Gibson, you know? I mean, what do you want these guitars to be? That's how much work you put into them. So I'll let you be the judge. Are they worth upgrading? In my eyes, yes. Because you know, I can get these guitars pretty cheap. So you might get like 3-piece body and a scarf joint neck. That stuff doesn't bother me. I love a scarf joint neck. I believe it strengthens the neck. Glue, everybody's like, oh, glue kills the tone. Glue does not kill the tone. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I don't believe in tone wood very much. So my thoughts are, what do you guys think about upgrading cheap guitars, and what have you done? I've took a $50 eBay guitar and actually made it play like a Mexican Strat. I believe that. And it even sounds good. So I believe these guitars are worth upgrading. I believe that. And if you have the tools already and the equipment to do it, you're going to save even more money. But when you're first starting out, you're not really going to save anything, because when I first started out, I had to buy this, buy that, buy little things here, buy a little thing over there. But now that I have the sanding beam, the thing that makes sure the relief's good in the neck, and all the tools I need, I benefit from it now. And I just build them. And if you can build them, maybe sell them a little bit. If you got $200-300 in a guitar, sell it. Make your own brand. It just depends. It all depends what you want to do. It's up to you. I believe that cheap guitars are worth upgrading. I'm not a guitar snob, and I never will be. And that's just my opinion. So let me know what you guys think. Thank you for joining me today on this show. You can go and check out my channel, and I show you how to upgrade guitars on a budget and still sound good. This wiring kit, honestly, I got $30, and people's like, oh, I got mine for $24. You're just spending too much. I got my Born pots and my orange drop capacitors for $20. Well, I bought the Born's kit that it comes with the capacitor and the pots, and then I bought vintage cloth pullback wire, and I bought a new switch. So I was in there a little bit with money, because that's the stuff that I needed. And while I'm there, I'm going to upgrade that stuff. Especially the wiring. I like the vintage the cloth pullback. I'll rewire the guitar with that. I just feel like it makes more, I don't know, it's easier to solder. It's not a bunch of Chinese thin wire. It's a lot easier to use. That's just my opinion. So I do have a little bit more money than other people in it, but still $30-40 for a wiring kit and stuff like that, you really can't beat that, right? Guitar Fetish quick plugs, I think that after tax and shipping, it's like $30, right? So you're not out a whole lot of money. You're not out like $80, $90, $100 that these big people sell. And I don't have a problem with Born pots. A lot of people are using CTS pots, but I think these are right up there with them. I used to use Alpha pots. They're still great. A lot of people don't like them anymore, but they're still great. So it all depends what you want to do and how much you want to spend. You can go out through my video and watch. I got prices for every tax bracket in America. I got the guys that don't have very much money and they need to play guitar and sound good. I got the guys that make $28,000 a year. They can spend a little bit more. I got people that make $35,000 a year videos where you can go and buy a little bit more expensive stuff, because we all know that we can go buy a Gibson. We all know we can go out and buy an expensive guitar. Everybody knows that. And that's what YouTube is based around anymore. The brand freaks, brand snobs, because it's just how your rig's set up. Honestly, I do believe that. It's how your rig's set up and how you play and how you do things and what amplifier you're using. I use a Black Star ID Core 100. A lot of people bash those amps, they're learner amps and all this stuff. I'm telling you what, I get great tunes and great sounds out of that amp. So I don't know, let me know what you guys think. Are cheap guitars worth upgrading? Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't yet. I'm Ronald Leggett Jr., and this was Guitar Buzz. Everybody knows this channel is all about being on a budget, and I like to show people that you can fix your guitars if you don't know how to solder. So I always review, quick plugs and stuff like that. Well, this is the brand that I use, Born Pots, and this is still on a budget. You can get, this for about $30. All this stuff that you see, you can get this sound for about $30, but you got to know how to solder. This is a setup that I use in my vintage style build that I did, and this guitar sounds amazing, and you can't beat it for the price. It is wired 50 style, and it is awesome.